Hey guys, happy Friday. So I'm on today to answer questions. So if you have a question, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to answer first the questions that people have been asking. So last week we did shoes, which was always a great conversation. So one of the questions that came out of that conversation was the next question was about cadence. So I know I say it a lot. I talk about running with cadence, and I'll talk about why and how it can help you. And so the third question, let's see, that's the first question I saw. The next question someone was asking about was shin pain, which kind of ties into cadence. So I want to talk about how pain kind of relates to my cadence and my run. When you go on the website, on the RunnerX website now, we have this little quiz. So if you've taken it, it's a lot of fun to just kind of see that if there's a movement error, it usually unfortunately shows up as a pain. And so running is often associated with pain due to that. But it's honestly, usually it's just an error in intent. Like maybe you don't realize you're doing it, but once you start to see it, you think, oh, maybe so. So let's talk first about what is cadence and why is that important to me. So first of all, when you run, you want to use what's called muscle elasticity. And muscle elasticity is something you're already born with. So it's the ability to use your own spring in a sense. So if you just stand here and bend your knees for a second and just do little hops, this is elasticity. So it's a nice, gentle hop. And it's nothing like a fast twitch or slow twitch muscle fibers, which differentiate like a sprinter from an endurance athlete. This is something we all have. And a lot of people talk to me about, foot strike. So if you try to actively put the foot down instead of pulling the foot up, then you are going to do more pounding on the body. So we want to do things, we want to, in place, by the way, we're hopping, and we'll talk about that in just a minute with the cadence. So in place, when I hop, I'm going up and down, which is a lot of impact. So what happens when you start to run, what I want you to do is if I'm hopping, and then my body goes forward, instead of going up and down, so hopping is up and down, falling is body travels forward, foot goes up and down. So we're always pulling to keep up with our falling body, and then as our body falls further, our foot has to pull quicker. So that's why we want to have muscle elasticity. And for most of us, maybe you listen to music when you run, or you're thinking about what you're doing that day for your run, or whatever else is going on. So most of us had never thought about what is my, running rhythm? What's my cadence? So it's a number that is a baseline. And so sprinters, for example, their cadence can be up to like 250, 260. Women are always higher. If you're a little bit shorter, it's going to be higher. Taller people, it's a little bit less. So for example, marathoners, when they broke the 2-hour marathon, it was at a 185 cadence versus Bolt running 100 meters at 257 or 247. I mean, that's a huge difference, right? However, you will find very rarely that you will find most runners' average cadence is 160 to 165. And the problem with that is that the longer I'm on the ground, the more impact I absorb, and I'm on the ground. If I'm on the ground, I'm not moving, like right now. We're not traveling, we're standing right here. So in running, we want to be in this movement, right? We want to be in a movement pattern. You're in a gait cycle. And if I'm recreating the same cycle over and over again, I have much less potential to injure myself because I'm repeating the correct cycle over and over. Because, running's about 1,500 steps a mile. So if I'm running a lot of distance and I'm doing something where, say, my foot is in front of me, 1,500 steps a mile, 3 times my body weight, it starts to add up to the body. So the fun part about cadence practice is it gives you a baseline and a blueprint in a sense, a standard for your run. Like your hamstring already knows how to pull, so that's fun, but you're developing it. So I actually brought my metronome and I'm going to play that for you. And by the way, it's hold on. Yeah, clear, done. Okay, I have to find my 180. It's always been it's a topic of conversation for people because everyone wants to think that running is kind of an individual thing. And just so you know, if you and I went running together, we should have the same standard of movement. Just like if you came to my workout class this morning and we did squats, I wouldn't say, you do this as a squat and you do this as a squat. However, I might say you do the different weight, right? We don't have to run the same mileage. We don't have to run the same pace. You can run on trails and I'll go on the road or whatever, but just know that running is running. So 180 is simply a baseline to help you learn how to use muscle elasticity. When you start to fall, which is a whole nother topic, but the fall is how we travel. And once my body has fallen, once I'm falling, it's 2%. 2% of my body weight is what I'm pulling, using 10% active muscle contraction. That's it. But in place, you're holding all of your body weight and you're using 100% active muscle contraction because you're going nowhere, you're in place. So just realize that if something in place doesn't help me move forward, it's also not going to help me when I'm moving forward. So that being said, what it means is if I practice cadence, like a high cadence in place, higher than 180, it's great for getting my heart rate up and getting some muscle elasticity. However, it's not helping me move faster. So what we need to understand is developing our ability to pull quickly is simply so that when our body free falls, we're ready to pull. That's what I want you guys to have fun with. But just for grins for me, I'm going to play this and see if you can do this. Can you hear that? Okay. So stand with your one foot up and put it right next to your ankle bone, not very high. And you can look down at it. And try to pull up on the beat. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Up, 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 up. Up, 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 up. You have one job. Just pull the foot. Up, 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 up. Okay. I used to run, when I first was learning how to do this, I had a little metronome I could clip to myself and run around the track with that metronome on. I always go early in the morning, it's dark, and one morning I turned it off, and across the track I heard someone say, "Thank you." So in place, by the way, right there, some of you, I'd love feedback if you watch this later and you try it. Were you able to maintain the 180? Was the 180 challenging? Did you feel like it was faster than you normally pull in your run? Did you feel like this feels relaxing to me? You know, either way, I would love to get your feedback. Because what happens is you get to the point where this isn't necessary, but in the beginning, like learning any other movement, it's absolutely necessary and so much better on your body, because the more steps I take, my higher frequency, just higher cadence, simply means that I'm also off the ground that much more. Even though that might sound counterintuitive, but if I'm running, so I'm going to go into Shin Splints. If I've got, say, pain here in the front of my leg, and I watch myself run, I do a video analysis, and I can see that I extended my leg forward because I really want to stride out, you know, or reach. Well, here I am. Well, physiologically, you're stuck. You cannot move the body forward. The body cannot travel until this back leg has caught up. So now I'm in the running pose. Well, once I'm in the running pose, ideally I should be able to fall and pull. Unfortunately, though, if you land ahead of your body, you miss the opportunity. It's a bummer. And instead, here I am already loading my shin. Then I've got a weight on my body. I don't even get to fall. So from here, you're going to use this foot as leverage to push and extend. And that pushing and that extension and that pushing and that extension loads the body. It fatigues it. It's like, not only, here we go, if I push off the back, 30 pounds on my hamstring, 3 times my body weight, 1,500 steps a mile. So, that hurts, right? Luckily, your body's really resilient and it lets you do it for quite a while before it lets you know. So it's going to be the same with shin splints. If you come in, like I have a membership, you come into the membership with a shin splint, you not only get skill practice, you get strength and self-care so that you recover from the injury and then you don't get it again. And so one of the things for shin splints is you have to open the ankles, right? It's really important that I'm able to open my ankles so I can do them from a standing, right? So it's really a good thing to be able to do this. You can hold on to something if you need to, but this is a great, great stretch ankle opener for opening this part of the leg. So a lot of times, you know, we do a calf stretch, but then I'm like, don't forget the shin, right? So the ankle opener really helps that shin. And then to strengthen the shin is a simple foot tap. Really is a great way to strengthen the shin. So it's just tap. So you're tapping the toe, the heel stays on the ground, and you can do singles. You can take the foot out and back, right? So we want to make sure that we stay strong. This is the anterior tibials, right? So we want to keep that, so you can do 1 foot and hold, whatever feels more comfortable, right? Or 2 feet. So, and again, 10, plenty, done, right? Hold for like 10, 15 seconds. And if I'm about to go for a run, I'll usually do a little bit more of a dynamic opener, right? And then if I'm done for the day, then I might hold more into a stretch. But you want to make sure you're communicating with these areas, especially if they're hurting, right? So then again, it's the same thing. Instead of me spending my time with my foot out in front of me, and if I'm not able to get out and run, I can practice in place. I'll just stick on my, every time I talk, I change it. Who knows what we'll get. Okay, so now I'm back on. Up, 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 up. I'm always wanting to pull my foot up from the ground. Everything's relaxed, right? And then the fun part is to learn how to travel, and that's using gravity to have you fall forward, but that's another conversation. But it's so important you realize that. You can learn how to run in place. That, I think, is what is so incredible, but you have to develop a relationship with how to travel. So if you learn really well how to pull, how to just pick up your foot using muscle elasticity, then when you go out to run, try to free fall. Try to practice and feel it. It's amazing how you're putting your body in the right state of movement, so then your tissues are going to work better. Your tendons are working better. Your muscles are working better. Your joints are working better because they're working together as intended. That's the best part. I mean, I promise, your hamstring knows how to do this. So you're developing that. But what's fun is you keep practicing with something as simple as just using a metronome, doing some hops, some toe taps, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, okay, this feels a lot better. And when you're running, you're thinking about running. So when you're running, try that. Turn everything else off. No music, no nothing. Try just putting the metronome on for a second. Look ahead. See if you can find a fall point to connect this to. Let your body go. So in place, pull. So you understand it's up, up. And remember, pulling all the way to the running pose is just to practice the running pose. In actual movement of running, you only pull the foot up from the ground. That's it. Isn't that nice? So in place, just up, up, up. Find something. Look forward. Look ahead. And let yourself go. It's all there. But it's practice. It's just a fun practice. And then you add in the stretching and all of that, and you start to reduce not just the pain from the injury you have, but you're reducing any error you had in your movement. You let go of pushing, you let go of reaching, and you're focused on, say, if you use the metronome, try it for like a minute or two, and then turn it off, and just simply run. But you can use it to check in, you can use it to practice in place, and it really will help you develop skills for running, enjoy your running, and also help you with injury prevention. So like I said, if you want to see what we're all about, you should go online and runrx.fit and take our online quiz, and it's just to help you see. So if you've got a pain, any kind of pain or injury, you can kind of help you see if something's going on. And of course, we would love to see you in the membership. but we would work with you daily and help you get through it. So either way you do it, happy to see you. Thank you guys.